I wanted to have my own web series, so here it is.
As my grandparents become frail and their bodies start to fail, before they go, I need them to know they've inspired me throughout my life to be the best at what I do. They've supported me no matter what's happened through the years. They've loved me unconditionally, which is hard to come by nowadays. They've helped me develop courage to confront my darkest fears. Do they know how much they mean to me? Do they know how much they've shaped who I've turned out to be? Do they know how much I'll miss them when they're gone?
Grandma Blanche was a spitfire of energy. She was also an obsessive cleaner, much like Rosie the robot. I remember when I would sleep over, she would scrub my glasses at night to get them clean. While I didn't inherit that gene, she did pass on her love of dark chocolate and playing card games, although she had a bad habit of cheating. During Rummikub, she would hide the Joker tile underneath her palm, but she would start giggling mischievously, and we'd know what was going on. It's a good thing she didn't play poker with Castle's writers group, because with a tell like that, they would have wiped her out. Grandma also taught me how to play piano by ear. Her favorite song was Send in the Clowns, which started me on my obsession with Stephen Sondheim. I remember how thrilled I was that she was able to come to my children's musical, Scanling's Party, a few years ago, and she raved about it for months.
That doggy's socialite throws great parties every night.
A few Thanksgivings ago, I showed Grandma some of my songs on the YouTube, to which she remarked, "You know, all you really need is someone to help you with promotions." And then, a few weeks later, I happened to meet someone who still to this day helps me with promotions. Grandma Blanche could be more prophetic than Professor Trelawney. Finally, one of the last stories about Grandma comes from my sister's bridal shower, where they were playing Mad Libs. Grandma got the clue, body part, and the story ended up going something like this. And then he got down on his crotch and proposed. Yep, Grandma Blanche could be a regular old golden girl.
Do they know how much I dread having to go on without them? Have survived concentration camps with atrocities unmentionable. Have survived pitching pennies through the Great Depression. All survived through hippies, disco, cassette players, and life without cable. All survived those horrible Bush years and got through the Great Recession, which is supposedly over.
Grandpa Dave was always in high spirits, whimsical and joking. Every Passover, we would haggle over the price of the afikomen. My sister and I would ask for $1 million, and he would just laugh at us and say that would buy a lot of matzah, and he'd just make a new afikomen unless we bartered down to a more reasonable fee. He held his ground better than Canis and Peta. Grandpa was a fantastic carpenter, and not only did he make everything in his own house, he made me a bed with 2 massive drawers underneath for all of my toys, because I had more geeky action figures than Bill, Sam, and Neil combined. A few years ago, he finally revealed his Holocaust story. It turns out with his brother, he smuggled 120 Jewish orphans out of Europe ahead of the Nazis on a long, arduous journey to Israel. And he was too humble to speak of this heroic journey for decades. When he went to visit Israel, the children and the families of the children that he saved threw him a huge surprise party and rightly greeted him as a hero.
Do they know how much they mean to me? Do they know how much they've shaped who I've turned out to be? Do they know how much I'll miss them when they're gone? Do they know how much I dread having to go on without them? My mom mom's dad taught me to play piano. My dad's mom makes the best latkes in the world to eat.
Grandpa Jay is the one who taught me where middle C was. He also taught me the foundations of reading music and instilled in me a great love of musical theater by giving me audio cassette copies of his original cast recording records. Every time I would visit as a child, I would come back with another few scores memorized. Thus, he turned me into a real Broadway music man. Grandpa also has a huge collection of VHS tapes, including many old movies and movie musicals, but also a lot of rare PBS broadcasts from decades ago. I also turned into a VHS collector, taping every single Star Trek episode of every single Star Trek series. Unfortunately, most things are online these days, making our collections as outdated as this reference to Cliff Huxtable's kids saying that he was behind the times. Grandpa was also an amateur photographer and painter, and most of the family have some of his paintings in our houses/apartments. I chose this one for my bathroom because it has green in it, just like my shower curtain. Finally, Grandpa's newest hobby is watching the TV channel of visitors entering his retirement complex. He claims he only does this when he's expecting someone because he hates surprises like when Kevin finds out Jackie is a drug addict.
My dad's dad built me a bed to sleep on. My mom's mom taught me card games, and she also taught me how to cheat. Do they know how much they mean to me? Do they know how much they've shaped who I've turned out to be? Do they know how much I'll miss them when they're gone? Do they know how much I dread having to go on without them? And I have one more thing about them to say.
Grandma Malchi says she's had 3 kinds of rings in her life. Her engagement ring, her wedding ring, and lots of suffering. Her ability to find the humor in most any situation is most amazing. No matter what, she loves to laugh loud and long and free. Grandma Malchi is a Holocaust survivor who has told her stories in countless schools and temples all over New Jersey, on the local cable, and she is featured in a book compiled by Steven Spielberg. Grandma Malchi is an amazing cook who used to make elaborate meals for every holiday. A few years ago, she taught my sister and me the secret family recipe for making latkes, and now we're in charge of making them. I make a great latke, but I'm no gourmet chef like Andy Botwin. For her 80th birthday, Grandma was honored at her temple on a Friday night. She got up and gave this amazing speech filled with copious tangents, including a random non sequitur about Michael Phelps winning the gold medal. It was as out of nowhere as a reference on Family Guy. By the end of the speech, she thanked everyone for coming personally one at a time, and then started shaking all our hands up and down the aisles at the temple. Eventually, the rabbi had to actually get her and sit her down so he could continue with the services because she was as excited as Smee when it's supper time. Whenever I visit her, without fail, she gives me a package of M&Ms, which makes seeing her sweeter than visiting Willy Wonka.
Without them, I wouldn't be here today. And I pray they won't go away yet.
Today's moral is that I am very lucky to have had all 4 of my grandparents for so much of my life. I am so grateful. And I'm also grateful for you. Thank you so much for watching Season 3. I'll be back with Season 4 as soon as I figure out some more stories to tell. See you then on Every Day a Little Seth.
I wanted to have my own